What's up? I'm Grizz. Welcome, episode 4, Hyouka. Still continuing some mystery stuff, still progressing, where it seems like we're in the middle of an arc here, which is pretty cool. Figure out some stuff regarding the uncle, figure out where the missing anthology is, what it could possibly have in it, where it could possibly be. I don't know. Hopefully some fun interactions between characters and stuff goes on along the way, and maybe some other future stuff that's going to set us up to keep in the back of our mind for further down the line. Excited to see where it goes. If you like it, I'll hit the like and subscribe. Do mean a lot to me. Feel free to stick around for the discussion and leave any comments about this episode or this series. Let's get going though. Episode 4. She's still sick. We also said that she was in the club last week, and I didn't think so. So if she is, that makes sense. Oh, but I guess Chitanda doesn't want other people involved because she doesn't want them worrying about her also being involved in family stuff or specific situations, not family stuff. You know what I'm saying? He's special in the situation. Right. Never mind. My bad. I guess so. Oh, she took that to heart. She's like, fuck, it's now or never, huh? She is curious. Probably takes a lot for her to do as well. They're not going to think too much of it either, but it's something internally that's a lot on her. This is getting excited. They are also curious. We're not really the classic literature club, though. We're more like a mystery investigation club. Why is he like this? Yeah, I would kick him over too. No. Oh, he did. All right. We're going to her place? That'll be exciting. We are racing. There's some cuts that they're showing here of the bikes like speeding by that actually look pretty good, especially because I just saw they just did one in Insomniacs recently. If you watched that, and that there's one specific scene recently that I saw with it that it didn't look too pleasant. So interesting. Yeah, we'll go with that. You would be, yeah. That's just how you are. Wow. That's really... Huh. The acres. Holy fuck, bro. Wow. My god, bro. Maybe we should wait. No. He's really fun, but man, I'd get annoyed of him. So traditional. Holy fucking space, bro. Ugh. But he matches the description perfectly. Yeah, you do it. This is for you anyways. Sacrifice of yourself. It's a curious name. Okay. I wouldn't. I don't think so. Yeah, no. Not feeling it. I'm with them. Yes. だがお前は模擬店は伝統的に禁止されていると言ったな。金が動かない関野祭には文化祭嵐も寄ってこないだろう。お金で絡まなくても寄ってくる方はいると思います。
情けないな、宝太郎は。旦那さんが言った類の校内暴力は1960年代にはまだほとんど見られないんだ。
So it wouldn't make sense unless it's the first of its kind.
じゃなくて国家とか体制っていう時代だからね。
見てきたようなことを言う。
言ったろ、その時期のこと調べてるって。
ちーちゃんごめん。どうしたんですか突然。
The thing that she looked into. Yeah.
説が成り立たないの。
Yeah.
母さんの説を聞かせてください。それでいいですか？
I like how she asks everybody's permission, but he's like, I don't want to do this anymore.
それにしても広いお屋敷だね。 庭に池があったりするのかい？
ありますよ。
本当に？ぜひ見てみたい。
We're not done. Oh my god, we're getting off target. I'm assuming out of all the things that we're going to present here, we're going to present a lot of mixed things of possible truths and possible not truths, which is going to cause this to be rather difficult for me to wrap my head around because they're dropping a lot of info.
前の年の6月に闘争があって、その指導をしたのが古典部の部長、関谷淳って人だった。で、実行主義っていうのをやって先生たちを困らせた。私の仮説ね。
Okay.
まずちーちゃん説の否定。
I do too.
団結と祝砲だと事件が起こったのは6月になるのよね。退学しなきゃいけないような実行、思いつくのは暴力よね。つまり関谷淳に率いられた人たちは先生たちをこう生徒の自主性が損なわれる何かがあって、それに反発したんじゃないかな。
That would make sense. Or I think that would be plausible at least.
ともこれ以上は読み取りようもないが。
確かに具体的かって言われるとそうじゃないけど。
Yeah, that's also true. Hers makes perfect sense within a story, but it doesn't work. Like, it just doesn't for, I guess, what this is. Like, it's not based on the info that she really found. It's just kind of a conclusion she drew herself to. Yeah. Right, why would it take so long in the gap between?
私もこの4ヶ月のズレは気になります。
文化祭をもってもう1年って言ってるんだし、退学は10月なんじゃないかな。
みんな細かい性格。
She just wanted to be
高校
right.
生はいい線いってると思うよ。
そうですね。じゃあ私の
I hate how he talks. He makes it sound like he knows what's going on and he just doesn't want to admit anything.
ごめん。なんかお腹減る。
And he's constantly trying to change locations and topics and stuff. To force them to venture into different things.
皆さんもどうですか？
There's something up with him for sure. Read your stuff here.
手作りだよ。
嬉しそうだな。
Is he just trying to venture into different things so Eureka can see her in different areas and stuff and experience different things?
彩香の説が部分否定されるんだ。言い忘れてたよ。
Yeah, you just forgot.
そういえば、当該とが500号近いと言ってたな。
その通り。
We could trace those back.
壁新聞部が発行している
Oh.
月報のバックナンバー。45年前の事件に触れているのはこれくらいしかなかったよ。そうじゃない場合は全校生徒の支持を得た誰かが関与したことになる。
Yeah, which is very unlikely to occur. To group every single person, especially when there's people like Eureka who refuse to put energy or thought into things like that, like, no, it wouldn't make sense.
うまい。
この伝説的な運動は関谷淳が退学した事件で間違いないのか？このコピーだけじゃどうにも怪しいが。
さあね、証拠はない。
さあねって。それじゃ
Yeah, well, we can't.
そうかな、やっぱり。
He's giving us a theory.
事件と伝説的な運動が違うなら、2つのうちこっちが伝説的な運動だっていう一文があるんじゃない？
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. You'd find specifics regarding each. Okay.
では仮説をお願いします。
ああ、仮説ね。
I don't really got one.
スタンダさん、悪いけど仮説は立たないよ。たったこれだけじゃ、茨説を修正するのが関の山だね。それに、データベースは結論を出す。
The second time you've said not this episode, but is he just simply getting at the fact that he'll provide and be there and kind of give them info, like lead into things, but he'll never actually be the one who draws the conclusion himself and he'll force action upon the others for that? I think that it might be as simple as that.
見ると語るべき内容が何もないな。仮説もないし。さてどうするか。
Make something up on the spot.
そもそもこれはやらなければいけないことなのか？
大太郎。
I'm not understanding.
オレキさん、
Is it all just written on him, but he doesn't want to proceed because he doesn't think this is right, and he just kind of wants to give up on... Yeah. Is it like that? And he's just like, I'm not doing this shit anymore? Dead end. Uh-oh. What the fuck is that? This is her room? And then he sees all the stuff that she researched and then how little or... Yeah. Now he's like, fuck, I guess I gotta go do it. All of them have involved that in some sort of way, whether it be something involving him.
まとめに入らないか
宝太郎、何か思いついたね。
まあな、一通りの説明はつくだろ
何か分かった
まあまあ、チタンダさん。
Relax, we're getting to it.
う。かと団結と祝砲の両方を信じると、事件が6月で、先輩が去ったのが10月だ。古典部部長関谷淳だ。
At least we would be led to
紙
believe.
別報によると、全校生徒も事件に関わっていたのがわかる。そしてなぜ全校生徒が立ち上がる相手って言ったら、まあ教師陣だな。茨のこと、そして事件の原因は文化祭だ。
The upcoming culture festival, yes.
教師陣と生徒側とで話し合いが持たれ、10月に文化祭が開催されることになったと俺は見。
But they had the issue in June when it began discussions about it.
ことかい？
そうだ。よく見てみろ。
Which ultimately allowed for the events to occur finally in October when it actually occurred.
資格が毎年恒例の行事、丸がその年だけに起きたことです。
も5日間盛大に行われる。
So was it him rising a charge to get like an extra day out of it? Or like, I don't know how many days they usually run, but make it like a longer thing? I think.
これは推測だが、この校長の学力重視宣言と合わせて考えると、校長は平日に5日間もある文化祭を縮小しようとしたんじゃないか。だから全学があれほど怒りに燃え上がったんだろう。これが事件の原因、なぜだ。
So it's typically that, but they were trying to change. Okay.
生徒たちは暴力は振るわなかった。やってもボイコットくらいだろう。
Right.
学校側は仕方なく生徒側と話し合い、文化祭縮小を断念した。だがその代償として英雄関谷淳を退学にした。事件と退学の時期がなんでずれてるか。関谷淳を退学にしたら騒動はますます大きくなる。だから熱狂が収まる頃。
And then they got rid of him then when it, yeah. It makes sense, but where does this come from? Yeah. In regards to her and the situation last episode. Good work, team. Good work. We did good. If it wasn't for Buddy back there pushing us and putting himself and giving us theories in certain situations to lead us to that conclusion, probably don't have happened. Also the things that everybody else came up with. That's what I want to know. How does that relate to that? What exactly did he say? What was that situation? We're going to end there? Why? So this episode's a rather, I guess, tricky one for me to say. I'm not going to say I loved it at all, because I really didn't. It wasn't bad by any means, but I wasn't the biggest fan of it, and maybe it's because of the direction that it took. We spent the entirety of the time kind of breaking down theories and stuff that these characters came to without us actually seeing how the characters were coming to these things through the research that they did specifically, and then kind of coming up with these things based on the things that they read to kind of form something and then slowly progress you as each person gives you their different take on what they think could have possibly happened until we can ultimately combine all of it through Ariki, and he's able to allow us to know exactly what he feels, because of course he's smarter than all of them, as you know, that's usually how they write one one of these characters to be. I think my issue more so comes with the fact that the way that the dialogue kind of went, a lot of times I find myself having to go back. I'm not the quickest reader by any means, but I can usually catch what I have to, when it's important. And a lot of the times here, things were skipping a little too quick for me to be able to catch on to. And then I'd have to go back and I'd have to repay attention to exactly what they said, or I'd have to just make sure I can reread it, which also became an issue for me. It also became an issue because they were going through so much info dumping, and there was so much that the characters were being said that any visuals and things that they were trying to add, the things that I've praised in the past before that I've liked so much about the show, kind of weren't things that I could really focus or pay attention on. While the ones that I did see, wasn't overly impressed with like some of the different directions that they took, right? They were just normal standard kind of things, but also made it harder to kind of enjoy the overall aspect of the show in regards to that. The mystery we end up, well, we don't solve it, but the mystery we end up, like the conclusion that we end up coming to for the time being, ends up also feeling like something that I don't feel like I could have gathered at all. I mean, you might completely disagree with me here, but I truly think all the ones up to this episode, if you had enough knowledge or enough time to kind of think about all these things, they're pretty solvable to some extent, some sure more than others, but for the most part, they all have things that kind of lead you to a path that makes sense. This one had those things, specifically talking about the things regarding, I guess, like rebelling with like the protests or the things regarding violence and all this stuff, and it kind of allows you to coordinate the things such as the differentials and the time periods and stuff, and then think about exactly what happened. But the issue that comes about with it is I didn't go through the research process or do any of this, so I'm just listening to these theories that these characters are coming up with for why it happens, and I'm supposed to pick and pull the things out of it that seem the most likely to me based on the things that they're kind of shutting down. And I feel like overall I think we needed probably another theory or two to get put in there before it would have made sense to come to the conclusion that we did, and our main character instead comes to that conclusion a bit earlier, so it doesn't line up, at least with my timeline of understanding it here, and it doesn't work overall that well for it. Now with that said, we're operating completely under the idea that his conclusion is correct in what we're doing, and I'm assuming there's a lot more to it, maybe more that he's picked up on that he didn't express to them, maybe more that he hasn't picked up on and he's not even aware is about to come, but I'm assuming that's not the end. That's literally kind of where we're stopping here, specifically Chitanda talking about at the end, why was she crying in that exact situation. If I had to make any sort of guess exactly the direction that they chose to take here for why this might have been the case, it simply could be as easy as her uncle like kind of not being able to tell her any stories regarding things with the club or regarding like that, because this is what she specifically asked for, because this is the only one that he really has, as he basically got kicked out of the school afterwards, so there was nothing that he could kind of do. So that would make a lot of sense to me if that happened, and then it made her sad because she's like, he's not going to be able to answer or do anything, and maybe he didn't comfort her in any sort of way when he saw her break down for whatever reason, because he was kind of like reflecting on fuck, like this kind of happened to me, this something like that. But that seems like more of a straight line thing, and that's not really the way we do this show. We kind of roundabout everything that we do, it seems like, until we get to that point, give you as much info around as we can until we hit that, we reconnect, like if you're drawing a circle. So I don't know, but I don't think that makes a lot of sense there. But I'm interested more on the aspects of the way this has affected Chitanda so much throughout her life, and the way that she kind of views it, and the things that she forgot and everything that's going on with that, rather than what this mystery wound up becoming itself. Well, I can appreciate we have moments like this, that we can do this, and we don't need the entire show to be cutesy things, character interactions, like all this other stuff that they're kind of doing. I don't know if I'm getting all of it, especially like an episode like this where it felt like we just dumped a lot of stuff. It almost began to feel like at a certain point we were literally just taking lines from like a book and like or a novel and just putting them on like screen and just rambling through them, instead of actually like pacing ourselves in a way that kind of made a bit more sense or allowed the viewer to take in everything that's kind of happening. Outside of my main interest of being the things regarding Chitanda there, I'm really interested in Satoshi and his role. Kind of, he has a line where he specifically talks about, I think it's like something along the lines of processing units can't like get solutions, or I don't know, whatever it is. It's something similar to that, which makes me kind of under the impression that he can come to these same conclusions that Ariki is if he really wants to and he really wants to try, but he much rather enjoys watching him kind of further his relationship with Chitanda or with the other people around him, and as well as kind of come out of his shell and add a bit more color, as they were talking about at the beginning in that conversation, so that he's not completely gray, and maybe add a bit more to him over time and allow him to kind of venture out and really experience and fill in himself a bit more, right? So he purposely takes that back road, or he purposely sets certain things up, such as the episode a few ago where he kind of chose to be the one who kind of stayed back and let the others go experience whatever they had to. And also so that he like kind of fed into, I think in the first episode, the things that Chitanda wanted to do, so that Oriki had to kind of involve himself a bit more with her. And again, this episode, it seems like he initially, like he literally knew before Ibarra even talked about her situation. Like as she was speaking, he basically knew, oh, I can prove this wrong. But he let her go, and he still asked questions and did things to kind of further and give other people a bit more info and go into them before he's like, I can kind of dismiss this based on the stuff that I did, but also kind of give you a bit more info. Like I have a lead, I feel like, as to where this is going, but I'm not going to give you the exact answer. I'm just going to question things and act like I'm involved a bit more while I'm letting you guys pick up on things and do things. And he also did a research in a way that he feels like this might be correct, so he can present as many options as he can on the table and let other people solve it. It seems like he's kind of going down that route too, which makes him rather more interesting to me too. I'm not typically the biggest fan of characters who are like the smartest person in the world and pull like these insane things, you know what I mean? Like I'm not typically a fan of characters who typically do that, who get presented in a way that they seem a lot smarter than everyone else. In this situation, it works decently because it seems like he's kind of just pulling things that anybody can kind of pull. This episode, once again, I didn't feel like that was the case, but typically when we do have situations like this with other shows and stuff, I don't like when they kind of set it up or do characters like that. So I'm hoping that every episode doesn't involve things similarly to that. I like the idea and direction overall, though, of bringing us to Chitanda's house and kind of having everything that went along there, having Satoshi kind of constantly bring things up to switch the location and the flow of what we're doing and allow Oriki to kind of see Chitanda operate or do things in kind of different situations and give him different experiences regarding that, and just fill him in a bit more there. And also allows you to expand the characters and see the friendships and things kind of growing between them, such as Chitanda being able to finally reach out now in a way and be able to include others in this mystery and do things regarding that. The last thing that kind of stuck with me, not that big of a deal, but just something interesting to me, was Satoshi specifically stating that if he was like actually like coming at Oriki in some sort of like negative way, he would just call him, he would tell him he has no color to him instead of telling him that he is gray, kind of setting something up, I feel like, to a point that he's going to do something or act out in a way that he's going to have to let, you know, drop this line on him and let him know, like, dude, you lost it, and kind of get him back in some sort of way. But I do like that a bit, like kind of giving you credit that even if somebody goes dull in a way and becomes gray, that they still have some life to them or have something within them that they can kind of channel, instead of just being completely flatlined and have nothing and be transparent in a way. But yeah, there's that. I mean, I think it was a necessary episode to transition us how we're kind of needing to, but I do think it could have been presented and paced a little bit different than we kind of got it. And maybe I'll change my mind completely based on things that you guys say or based on the things that I re-notice when I'm re-editing this. But for the time being, that's kind of my initial impressions on it. So we'll have to kind of see where I go from there. Leave any comments though overall about this episode and the way that you felt, or just the series as well, and just things that you want to talk about, anything that I can take away. If you like it all, hit the like and subscribe. They do really mean a lot to me. Feel free to check out the other videos on the channel. I will be back for episode 5 very soon because I need to see exactly what happens. And I'm assuming I'll be ending this considering the next title is The Truth About the Club. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, thank you though very much for watching, and see ya.